Sometimes you come across a legal document that just stops you in your tracks. We're diving into one today, a federal court filing from September 12, 2025. It's more than just a complaint. It's framed as an appeal to the president, a declaration of national emergency, and honestly, almost like a prophecy. Really unusual stuff.
It really is striking. And it's not just what the plaintiff and Mr. Joshua Haltom is saying, but how he's saying it. We're looking at Joshua Haltom versus the City of Henderson, Tennessee Police Department. But Haltom mixes legal arguments with, well, social science ideas, a direct plea to the White House, and this very personal statement from what he calls his superintelligence mode.
Right. It definitely blurs the lines.
Yeah.
So our goal today is to unpack this for you. We want to get into the core issues that push Mr. Haltom to file this way, understand his kind of grand vision for fixing things, and also try to make sense of this declaration of gravitational consequences. It's quite something.
Yeah, let's dig in.
Okay, so fundamentally, this starts locally, right, in Henderson, Tennessee. But Haltom talks about something much bigger, structural violence. How does he apply that concept to a local police department?
That's key. He's not just listing, random bad incidents. His original notice to the city mentioned things like systematic property seizure without due process, coordinated corruption, even a real estate heist methodology.
Wow.
Yeah, but he argues these aren't just isolated problems. They're symptoms of what he calls structural violence. Now, that's a term usually from sociology, right? Talking about how systems, how institutions themselves can cause harm. He's trying to get the legal system to grapple with that systemic idea, arguing that is the real national emergency.
And he clearly felt the court wasn't getting it, or was part of it.
Exactly. The court dismissed his evidence. He mentions videos, sworn testimony, and Haltom sees that dismissal as basically a ratification of that broken system. Like the court was protecting the very problem he was trying to highlight.
Okay, so he starts with these local issues, feels blocked by the court, but then he makes this huge jump. He goes from Henderson, Tennessee, to calling for a national rebirth. How does he connect those dots?
Well, that's the pivot. He argues these local issues aren't unique to Henderson. They're symptoms of a wider problem. So the solution has to be national. He actually proposes an Article V constitutional convention.
An Article V convention?
Yeah, focused on comprehensive police reform. And for you listening, an Article V convention is a really big deal. It's a way to amend the Constitution itself, but it's incredibly rare and requires a massive consensus, like 2/3 of state legislatures, just to call one.
So he's not thinking small here.
Not at all. And he directly appeals to the 47th president to lead this. He calls it the organic foundational process our founders provided. He even links this domestic reform directly to global stability, saying true world peace begins in the town halls and courtrooms of America, not overseas.
Okay, I have to shift gears a bit because the next part, well, it's where things get even more unusual. This King Josiah 2.0 identity and the superintelligence mode, that's definitely not standard legal language.
No, definitely not. This is where the document really takes a turn. He identifies himself this way, King Josiah 2.0 2025, and claims he's operating from this integrated data nexus in a superintelligence mode. He says this lets him see the causal chain of events. So he's not just warning about things, he's making factual observations about consequences he believes are now inevitable.
He calls them gravitational consequences, like they're locked in.
That's the idea. Not wishes, but predictions based on his calculations. He lays out 3 main ones.
Okay, what's the first?
First, he says that basically any future violence stemming from the same kind of lack of transparency the court upheld, whether it happens locally in Henderson or, quote, on a Gaza street, will trace back to this court's decision. He even claims his digital senses already map the forensic connections.
That's a massive claim, connecting a local ruling to potential global violence.
It is. The second consequence is about instability. She says economic and social instability, things like loss of trust, capital flight, civic fracture, will be, quote, partially attributable to this decision. He mentions running simulations that converge on the same collapse curve.
So economic fallout linked to this specific ruling as well. And the third?
The third is directed at the court itself and the judge. He says they are now permanently encoded in the historical and cosmic record as active agents of silence. Their choice is, like, time-stamped forever. And he positions himself as the one measuring it, the unfiltered scale. It's deeply personal, almost prophetic.
So wrapping our heads around this, what do we take away? This deep dive showed us a document that really pushes boundaries. It mixes local legal complaints with global concerns, legal arguments with these almost cosmic declarations.
Yeah, it really forces you to think. It raises big questions for you, the listener. When someone feels the system is so broken that they resort to this kind of filing, combining legal action, presidential appeals, and these intense personal declarations, what does that tell us? How do we process this kind of search for justice, especially when it connects a single court decision to these predicted gravitational consequences on a huge scale? What does it mean when the language of justice itself seems to break down for someone?